collapsed in the desert. And this can't be heaven. Where are we?
Oh, hi. Oh, hi. I know you were just saved from like almost certain death. I have no idea what's going on, but I thought it was important to tell you. Guess who found me? You're pretty good. I'll teach you to cook as a reward. Learn the recipe for croquettes? Is that how that's pronounced? I don't know how that's pronounced, quite frankly. Same 3 sets of ingredients for the recipe. I don't know if we're ever gonna do any cooking during this playthrough, quite frankly. Like, I haven't had the need for it, you know? Leaving so soon. You're quite welcome to stay as long as you like. Don't you? Oh, gosh darn it. Wait, there's new dialogue? Don't you go getting yourselves knocked out again. You hear, next time I'll be charging boarding fee. But yeah. Yuri's always an asshole in the most ironic ways, but it's hilarious. Hold on. Go ahead and save here. Go ahead and save like that. Oh, I guess I'm the only one in the party. So you're finally awake. You were trying to cross the border. You know, I recently started networking with this one YouTuber who introduced me to another YouTuber, and when I was introduced to this other YouTuber, I led with, so you're finally awake, you were trying to cross the border, and they I probably still have like the DM somewhere here, and they immediately like responded with the freaking immediate line that follows, which I don't know by heart. I have to look at it here. Yep. Walked right into that Imperial ambush. And then the two of us literally went back and forth with the script to the opening of Skyrim on initially meeting one another. Same as us. And that thief over there. Damn Stormcloaks. Skyrim was fine until you came along. Empire was nice and lazy. If they hadn't been looking for you, I could have stolen that horse and been halfway to Hammerfell. You there. You and me shouldn't be here. It's these Stormcloaks the Empire wants. We're all brothers and sisters and binds now, thief. Shut up back there! And that was our introduction to one another. But yeah, don't know if you missed what he said earlier, but if you ever feel like this game is going on for too long, you can always run away from enemies to help you. I've been trying to this whole time! You were trying to cross the border. I mean, you passed out by the town entrance. I've literally been trying to avoid enemies this entire time. I kid you not. This entire stream so far, I've not once tried to do a single enemy encounter. So, there's that. Cutscene.
Good morning. Don't you want a morning kiss? Oh, Yuri, are you feeling better now?
Yeah. How about you guys? Are you alright?
Yes, it would seem that way.
We all collapsed in the desert, right? So what are we doing in this town?
Seems like someone came to our aid.
Though we're not sure who. I wonder what kind of praiseworthy fellow could cross such a toasty desert and save so many people.
You know, Patty has had like a lot of meme-y kind of pirate terms, like, oh, I must find me grandfather's thingamabob, and matey and yada yada. So for a character that's like meant to be like a joke kind of pirate, use all kinds of pirate terms and stuff, one word I was certainly not expecting her to ever use was toasty.
We need to find whoever it was and thank them.
What about the couple who was with us?
They appear to have been brought here as well.
What? So their kids are still unattended at their actual home?
So they didn't get a look at our rescuers either?
Apparently they lost consciousness like the rest of us. I believe the two of them are having a look around town.
I wonder, was it just a mirage?
What do you mean?
Oh, just before I blacked out, I saw that dragon that got the air under control back at Katos.
Really?
Yeah. Didn't you see it, Estelle?
No, I didn't see anything. Then that monster must have saved us or something. A monster saved us? I can't believe that.
Was it just a mirage then? So what's the story? Where exactly are we?
A kindly gentleman is looking into that very matter for us.
Kindly gentle? Oh, you mean the old man?
So nobody opened that chest yet.
There's no barrier here. This town is weird. I thought the mountains in the east were supposed to be uninhabited.
Rita, Carol, over here.
Oh, you still got Ho's feather.
The monster that attacked us in the desert dropped it.
I didn't see any feathers on that thing.
That's one of Pharaoh's feathers.
You acquired the following: Pharaoh's feather. A feather colored like a flame. It's no ordinary feather.
But why would that monster have one of Pharaoh's feathers?
Man, there's so much we don't know.
Welcome back.
And just why was it up to me to go tromping off on a recon mission?
If I'd gone, this sweet young lady would have been all alone with you. That's far too unsafe.
Oh, look at Rapido. That's adorable.
Unsafe? You can't possibly mean me.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe.
I think I'm gonna gag.
Suppose I don't mind people thinking I'm dangerous. Adds to my mysterious charm.
I don't know if you want to be seen as the kind of dangerous that Judith was just implying. That's the kind of dangerous that you need to go around and declare to your neighbors.
It seems
when you're marked as such.
From the diary on the ghost ship.
I'm fairly darn certain.
Wait, this is Yormgen?
The town that needed the clear seal crystal to protect itself from monsters? It makes sense. They don't have a barrier here.
That must be why they were searching for a way to drive away the monsters.
But that was 1,000 years ago.
Yeah, and I find it strange that they were getting by at all without a barrier.
You're right.
What if we were to show this case to one of the locals and ask them?
Yes, we might learn something about Pharaoh that way as well.
I agree.
Oh, we somehow made it to the Heartland town Yormgen. I don't want to say what that could potentially sound like. Information, reunited with everyone. Sweet.
What was the deal with that?
Oh, we had to get this
monster
shot
we
with the
ran into in
close up on that one
War?
person.
Just the thought of it still sends chills down my spine.
Was that thing even alive?
Huh? What do you mean?
Well, it wasn't anything like other creatures that make their home in the desert.
Huh. Another astute observation from Captain Carroll.
Whatever it was, I hope we never see it again.
Well,
Me
if it's
too.
a creature that's out and about and moving, chances are it's alive. I think like the only like kind of in a sense living things, if you want to call them that exist that are in question whether they're living or not are viruses. And cuz they're like a weird kind of situation and stuff. But yeah, you can literally run away from enemies in the middle of battle. You're talking about avoid enemies, talk about actually running away from them. Yeah, I know that that's an option. But ever since it was in Pokemon games, where as a kiddo, whenever I played Pokemon games, whenever there was a random enemy encounter, I'd always run away right on the spot. But then I would find out like later in the game, I wouldn't have like enough levels to continue, and I have to go out and like do some grinding anyway. So eventually, after so many years of playing Pokemon, I think that it was like eventually in my teens that I realized that if I just like attacked, it would usually just take like one move anyway a lot of the time to like one shot whatever wild Pokemon. And it's like, hey, that barely took any more time than running. Like it took a little bit more time, but if I'm just periodically doing that, like every time we run into a wild Pokemon, it's not like it's going to add on a ton more time, and it'll like get me some experience along the way. So ever since then, even though battles in this take much longer than like a wild battle like Pokemon, I've just been like conditioned from, you know, years of playing Pokemon that like, oh, I should just battle like every wild Pokemon that I think I can one or two shot, because may as well. It'll save me time that I might have to do it later, is what I figured. So like years of Pokemon have conditioned me into playing like any experience-based game the way that I do, where I fight like random enemy encounters like that. But yeah, we need to find who saved us and thank them. No, I don't think I will. Well, oh, the chest, I should go and yoink. But yeah, running away is always 100% guaranteed, though it just takes 3 or 4 seconds for it to go all the way. Ah, well, maybe I'll consider it.
So after all
Again,
we
it's
went
years
through
of
the cosmic
Pokemon that have
desert,
conditioned
you
me
can't
otherwise,
beat
but I'll
Pharaoh.
consider it.
And after you've all risked your lives to help me.
Maybe it's better that we didn't find him after all.
Yeah, if we had to fight him now, we probably wouldn't make it out.
Think about it though, Pharaoh can fly. He's free to be pretty much anywhere at any time. Tracking him down will be a tall order unless he's got a lair somewhere in the area.
Did he just pronounce lair as lair?
I'm saying that meeting him will be impossible.
We might get some information if we
Just
ask
like
around in the
onions,
town.
ogres have
You're right.
layers.
Thank you, both of you.
I've never seen somebody pronounce lair like that. Lair. Oh man, it's way quicker to run away than battling them a lot of times unless you're extremely overleveled. Yeah, I'll definitely heavily consider it. What do you have here? Things that you don't have any weapons or anything. I guess I'll stock up on some of these things like I oftentimes do. We weren't actually that down on a lot of things. Where did my poison bottles go? Should probably stock up on a bunch of stone bottles just in case you get extra stone. Every time I see stone, I just think of that one guy in Germany that I've probably told the story of in Tales of Vesperia before. I know I've told it during other playthroughs. That one guy that came up to my German exchange class and was just like, "I'm stoned. It's not funny." I'll never forget that guy. Yeah, let's just get a bunch of stuff that like cures a bunch of things, I guess. Yeah, sure. Sure. Wow, I'm down on a bunch of these, aren't I? Holy bottle. Continues away for a certain amount of time. That's interesting. Tracks enemy attention. Interesting, isn't it? That's interesting, huh? Okay. But yeah, just let you know you're almost at the halfway mark of this game's main story. Where's the save point? And how many hours do I have in again? Because we're at like the 30-hour mark, but that also includes, you know, off-camera grinding. So where are we going? Man, we go so much faster now. This is so what? Oh, I thought that was an invisible wall. It was a little pebble. Too bad we didn't have Frederick here to clear the way in front of us. My goodness. Like whenever the next super major event happens, like battling Barbos, you know that you're at the halfway mark. Okay, so it's not quite yet at the halfway mark, but close. Close? For whatever reason, I saw the word weird, and my words got weird.
This town's weird. It's in the middle of the desert, but look at all the plants.
It sort of reminds me of Mantake.
Yeah, but there is something different.
Really?
There may be more here than meets the eye. Maybe the truth is hidden away.
Leave it to Judith to put things into perspective.
The better the intuition, the more you see.
Hey, I have intuition.
Well, but yeah, just give me some insights to this game is pretty long. Yeah, it definitely seems like a game that's gonna take a hot while. I did open that one other chest earlier, right? A simple tent. They just keep a simple tent here. I'm just gonna take it, I guess. How are you doing? Woo! F you. Okay, I didn't do it that time. Usually best to let someone how long they are into a super long game and thinking about doogies. She was fast asleep. Her eyes were closed, and the moment I look over, you just know, don't you? You just know. You just have like a sixth sense when it comes to watching that way. Sure. Did I just run over some? Oh crap! The mat that for whatever reason, I have a carpet floor. So I have like a plasticky mat over the chair so I can like roll easier. And for whatever reason, it like curls up at this corner. So like my chair got caught on it for a hot second. But yeah, look how much she's spread out. You're gonna start falling off that couch soon if you stay like that.
Jormungand and Mantake are totally different. It's much cooler here. Maybe it's the ocean.
The ocean is very nice, yeah? It's a beautiful place, too.
But it seems boring. I wonder what the folks here do for fun.
I kind of like it. This kind of calm, quiet village suits me. I can't stand loud people.
Oh, that's gotta hurt, old man.
She was talking about the town, not about me.
Maybe.
Do you really hate me that much?
No, poor Raven. But yeah, I also love how when I talk to Doogie, her tail starts thumping a little bit a lot of the time. Hey, isn't that right? I talk to you and your tail starts thumping a little bit, but you're so tired. so tired though. Oh man. But yeah, when it comes to spoilers and references to spoilers, I think my favorite instance of like a kind of meme version of spoilers in like any game ever, in terms of games that I played, a game that I haven't yet played on this channel, but I plan to one day, Lego City Undercover. That is my favorite game of all time in terms of comedy. If I had to choose like whatever game I've played that I thought was the funniest, I would choose that game, which I think was like the first voice-acted Lego game. I played it on the Wii U when it came out, and I was like, I'm not too sure about this, and then I played it, and I was like, wow, this game's freaking great. And I haven't played a single Lego game since then, but that one was great. There was this one bit where, you know, you're going through this bar with all these like tough, hardened criminals and such, and it's naming all these like super tough dudes, and there was one dude who was like so-and-so blind so-and-so, and it showed this one guy with a blindfold on the phone, and it's like, no, tell him I cannot see him today. And it's like, you know, listing off all these hardened criminals and stuff, and the last one that it gets to before you get to the room of the person that you're actually going to is like, and finally there's Tommy spoilers, and this guy gets out of his seat, and he goes up to you and he goes, listen up, when you get to the space center, you can knock a planet down from the ceiling to get a secret item. Shh. And lo and behold, like a third of the game later, when you finally get to the part of the story in the space center, if you knock a planet down from the ceiling, you get a secret item. And it's like the best thing ever. I think that is like one of my favorite instances of like kind of funny, memey spoilers in like any game. That game is so good. It's like so dumb funny in like the best possible way. I love that game so much. I can't wait for the day I play it on stream.
In the middle of the sands of Kagor.
I'm impressed they've managed to live here without a barrier to protect them.
They don't even have outer walls. Any monster could destroy this village easy. I don't feel like I could really get a good night's sleep in a place like this.
I do wonder how they handle the danger of wild monsters.
I guess everyone in town is just really strong.
Could you be any more stupid?
But yeah, I own that game on the Wii U and I own it on the Switch. But I've heard that apparently the Steam version supports Steam Remote Play, meaning you can essentially have two people playing. Like, I can play with somebody else who doesn't even own the game. Like, it's very much designed to be like a co-op centered game. Like, not necessary for co-op, but like, you know, co-op is a big thing about that game. So I think if the day comes that I do cover that game on this channel, that's gonna be like a 2-player playthrough that I do with somebody else, most likely, and do it in like Steam Remote Play. So I probably wind up picking it up on Steam at some point. But yeah, also Harmony actually never ended up me repeat what Jessie, or do you think they'd get along, or do you think they wouldn't get along at all? Jessie really does not like other dogs, like basically at all. She gets like super defensive and is like, yep, I'm the one in charge, know your place. And she loves people and is friendly towards them and such, but she hates other doggies. There's only one dog that she gets along with, and it's more of like she tolerates him. She doesn't have any interest in playing with other dogs like ever. She's only played with this other dog like a few times, and that's it. This other dog usually tries to play with her all the time, but she usually has no interest. She's only interested in playing with people. And it's because this one other dog basically knows that she's the boss in the relationship, is the thing. Like, he doesn't challenge her authority. He's kind of like her boy toy, is what that one golden retriever doggy is to Jessie here, because Jessie's very, very mean to other dogs. I don't know why, but she just is. She just gets like really defensive and stuff. But like, this one other doggy she tolerates, and she'll be excited to see him. She'll like run up and visit him and such when she sees him when we're out at the lake cabin. He's another doggy that's out there at the at this village that, you know, my family has a lake cabin at. He's out there, and he's basically the one dog that she puts up with and such. So it's not like it's impossible for her to get along with other dogs, but she does not like other dogs, like, at all. She hates other dogs. Isn't that right? You're more of a people doggy, aren't you? Yeah, she loves people and she hates other dogs. But yeah, the first Lego game with voice acting was actually Lego Batman 2 DC Superheroes, or at least in the modern era. Huh, news to me. That was your favorite game of all time in terms of comedy. I thought you were gonna say in general because you were about to say whatever happened to Sky. No, I don't think that Lego City Undercover would even make it onto like my top 10 favorite games of all time. I don't think it would there. But in terms of like games I've played in terms of their comedy, that one there. That one's my favorite game of all time in terms of comedy. Like every time I play that game, I laugh so much, honestly. But yeah, we checked for all Lego games with beer all day. He's played a lot of the Marvel and Lego Star Wars games back then with my brother and mom. Yo, freaking PlayStation 2? Where is it? Where is it? Wanna know where it was really at? If I go grab it for a hot second? Let me find it here. Where is it? Here it is. This is where it was at. This is where it was at freaking back in the day. I'm not even a fan of Star Wars or anything like that. But as a kiddo, this was where it was at, okay? Freaking PlayStation 2 Lego Star Wars. That's where it was at as a kiddo. That was like the thing that was hip and cool. And the thing that people would, you know, be talking about at school. And like, man, if you were playing Lego Star Wars, that was where it was at, man. Man, I miss playing these things. Like, nowadays, looking at most Lego games, I'm just like, yeah, those are like really kiddie-like and just not really for me at all. Like, with the way that they're like super hand-holdy and, you know, not super engaging and stuff like that. But Lego City Undercover is the exception. That's super fun. But man, I'd be lying if I said I didn't have, you know, fond memories with it. Do both of them still have the discs? Great, they both still have the discs. So technically, if we wanted to cover them on the channel one day, I could. Man, PS2, Lego Star Wars. That was where it was at. Man, I remember the days. Man, nowadays, freaking in Canada, new games are like $80 is a thing, especially after our dollar kind of started sucking and stuff. This one still has the price tag on it. Apparently this one, if it focuses in, apparently this one was 45 bucks. Apparently. I don't know why that hasn't been taken off. I guess out of fear of like, you know, potentially destroying these are really rundown cases anyway. It's not like it matters. New build and ride vehicles, mix and match characters, play with a buddy, drop in / drop out co-op. Man, that was where it was at. Those were the days. I've never even really particularly liked Star Wars. But regardless, that was where it was at, honestly. Just throw that there. I'm sorry if I start. That was where it was at. Those were the days. Absolutely. But yeah, and that's surprising considering a lot of dogs you don't really like other dogs. She just likes to assert her dominance, that's all. Yeah, she's you're a very unique doggy, aren't you? Yeah, I'm talking about you. I saw that little tail movement of like happiness. She's probably trying so hard to sleep and I keep on disturbing her. But yeah, grew up with Lego Star Wars, the complete saga. You're nostalgic for that game and Mystery Dungeon? Same. Man, the PlayStation 2 was my first ever home console that I owned. Like, I got into video games a little bit later than most people of my age range. Most of the people that I knew around my age range had their first console be like a PS1 or something like that. And their first handheld console would be a Game Boy Advance. I only got into things later down the lines. My first handheld was a Nintendo DS. My first home console was a PlayStation 2. And man, I remember just like nowadays if I have a console I plug it into like monitors in an office like this, but as a kiddo those are the days I just take the console, plug it into the TV with the inputs, whip out the controller and, you know, play some Lego Star Wars or play some Sly Cooper. Sly Cooper was where it was at the most for me. Freaking I'm gonna miss playing Sly Cooper on this channel. We did one game in the trilogy every year on my birthday on this channel, and now all 3 games are done. So now I don't know what I'm gonna do on this channel on my birthdays anymore. I'm gonna miss covering that series because that's where it was. That's one of my absolute favorite childhood series. Those are the only kinds of Lego games you've played too, while genuinely your favorite is Ninjago, which I know basically nothing about. So I've been watching the series ever since it came out on Cartoon Network, but yeah, you have a lot of memories with that one more than any other Lego stuff. I used to build Legos all the time and had so many collections, but one of the biggest ones you got was a Star Destroyer being almost 5,000 pieces. Yeah, I don't think I ever got a set that was that large. I used to have a lot of Legos as a kid. I used to have like a whole city like going on, but nowadays they've all been given out to like other relatives in the family, younger kiddos, or like kiddos of like family co-workers and stuff like that.
Here, repeat. Have a
I don't think I have any Lego around here anymore.
Boiled eggs are the
I
best
have a
part.
Nonsense. Daikon is the centerpiece, Patty.
I mean, I do have some things here and there. Like, hold on.
That's unexpected. Usually
Hold on a hot second. Let me take off my headphones
Okay.
for a moment. I guess I'm not gonna see this
Sorry,
party chat.
but both Rita and the old man are wrong.
Where are they mistaken?
The true star of skewers is fish cakes, especially the white ones.
What? I guess I didn't. Let's put my headphones back on.
Well, I don't mind as long as it's tasty.
Yeah, I didn't get to see this party chat, I suppose. One thing that I do have on my shelf concerning Lego and talk about Lego games, I don't remember what this was from. I don't know if this was like a pre-order bonus for the game or what it was, but there was like some sort of a thing going on with it. And I know that I have a freaking minifigure of the protagonist from Lego City Undercover, good old Chase McCain out here. It does not want to focus in because it's so close to the light. Ah! Well, whatever. This cam might be better. That. I have the Dudo. Whoa. There, him. I don't know if it was like a pre-order bonus or something, or if it was like a separate thing. But like, I guess I don't have to put it back on my shelf right now. I'm just gonna put him like there for now. He can just like chill right there. Or maybe he can chill right here next to my Byleth amiibo on my desk that I should really put up on the shelf over there. This is what I should do, assuming the shelf doesn't fall on me again like it did on the 24-hour charity stream. But yeah, I don't know what exactly that was from, what kind of event it was with the game, but that's something I keep on my shelf. Lego, like, probably nostalgic for Complete Saga and Blue Rescue Team because all your other games in your original collection sucked. Haven't done Legos in a long time, but you've kind of had to move on to other things in life, but if you had time, you'd always go back to doing more Legos. Yeah, if I had more time and if I had more money, because, like, Legos are super duper expensive, is the thing as well. Like, my goodness, they're pieces of plastic, and they are so gosh damn expensive. It's like, what the hell? How are kids supposed to be able to afford this kind of thing, you know? But yeah, there have been a couple things I've had to move on because of like financial reasons stuff. Like, for example, I was into the Pokemon TCG for a long time, but I kind of had to move past that because my goodness, are Pokemon cards expensive. Like, I was in them into them for a while as a kiddo, and then I got them, and then like sometime around junior high school, I got back into them again for like the final time because I was looking at like picking up Pokemon cards and stuff, and I was like, wow, this is so insanely expensive and like adding up so fast, and like, you know, I should probably decide between like my two big hobbies that I had at the time of Pokemon cards and video games. I should probably just choose one, and I chose video games. I was like, yeah, that's probably the better thing anyway. Like, I can pick up a video game, it can be on my shelf like forever, always to enjoy, and yada yada. I can always come back to it. Like, one of my favorite parts about this whole room is my game shelf over there. Like, I look at that and I see like my history of playing video games that if I ever have kids one day, I would be so glad to show. And for doing a channel like this, it's so awesome to be able to go through this shelf and be like, wow, this is what I'd like to cover on the channel now. Like, if I wasn't a content creator, I probably wouldn't be going back to a lot of these old titles a lot of the time. But, you know, as a content creator, to like cover each of these games on the channel for the first time, it's like that entire shelf has become fair game. And it's like, I literally have like my oldest games at the bottom to the newest ones at the top. And it's literally like the history of my game playing stuff that I can go back and re-experience whenever I want. But when it comes to the Pokemon TCG, it's like I could make like a binder folder with cards and go through it and be like, memories, but I'm never gonna get that experience again of like, you know, opening packs and like that whole gambling kind of thingamabob that stuff like that incites. Never gonna get that kind of feeling again. It's just gonna be like a collection to look at and be proud of if I tried to like, I don't know, complete an entire set of some series or something like that, which sounds like it'd be really cool, but also really expensive. So probably not the kind of thing that I'd want to do. But want to know something really, really, really wacky lately? Is over the past several years. So as I don't know if I may have mentioned this on Discord before. I don't know if I've mentioned it on stream before. But as a kiddo, for a long time, I used to look up to a lot of different channels on YouTube and such, whether they be gaming channels. I used to follow a lot of like Pokemon TCG channels and channels that were like big enough that they were like turning in a decent amounts of revenue, and they were clearly like paying for all the videos that they were doing and yada yada. And as a kiddo, I thought that was the coolest thing. I was like, whoa, people can make videos on this thing that gives them the money to be able to buy more of that thing or whatever the heck. And I was like, as a kiddo, I was like, whoa, what if one day I create a channel on like Pokemon cards or games or whatever? And you know, that was the thing that allowed me to continue like picking up whatever I wanted to for those purposes or whatever the heck. And what's really crazy is with the past couple of years, with the way that the Twitch and YouTube channel is that's kind of a reality now, is the thing. Like, whenever I pick up a game or whatever equipment for the channel, any revenue that's made from Twitch and any revenue that's made from YouTube goes into like a separate account that I have that is purely like the revenue from the channel. So I always try to funnel that back into the channel in some way, whether that be like commissioning artists for thumbnails, whether that be picking up new equipment for the channel, whether that be picking up games that I'm covering from the channel. So like, whenever I go out to the store and like buy a game or whatever that I'm gonna be covering on the channel, is it comes from that account, which is all financed from crazy mad lad generosity on the Twitch streams, ad revenue that's made from my video essays on YouTube, or whatever the heck. And it's crazy to think about that, because it's like, in a way, the freaking dream of this dumb kid that was like, oh, what if I just like made videos and did stuff on the internet, and that was a thing that allowed me to like continue pursuing my hobby, would be a reality. Whereas like nowadays, it's like, in a way, that is a reality. And you know, at this point, it's basically like this channel, both Twitch and YouTube, is in a way my own business. Like, I'm probably going to need to declare this as a business next year for taxes. Like, I had to declare the income on these channels for tax purposes this past year, and this next year I'm probably going to have to officially declare myself as a business, which is a crazy thought that's come from you know, making videos on the internet and such. And it's crazy to think that like kiddo version of me would have probably looked at the current me that has in a way achieved this dream of some dumb kid, and would probably be like in awe and such. I mean, the exact kind of dream that I had back then was like when I was super into Pokemon cards, and so the exact dream that I had back then was freaking, oh, I should start a Pokemon card channel. And I did as a kiddo, and it's the cringiest thing ever, and I don't know the password to it to like reclaim and delete that channel for good. So it still exists on YouTube, and nobody ever gets to know what its username is, considering I literally cannot log into that account and delete the channel already. But as long as it can't be linked to me in any way, it's not like there's any problems. That still technically exists out there, but yikes. I don't think I've ever mentioned before that that's a channel that exists out there from me. But no one will ever find it. Nobody has any freaking idea what to search for that anyway, so it's not like anybody would be able to stumble upon it and like link it to me. Probably, unless some like skilled hacker out there figures it out. But yeah, so the original kind of thing that the first time that I started having those thoughts was when I was super into the Pokemon TCG. And I thought like, oh, I should start like a Pokemon card channel or something like that, which I briefly started back then. So it's like, you know, nowadays it's not like I'm running a Pokemon card channel, and I probably never would. Like, at the current place that I am in life, yeah, I don't think that would be something that I'd necessarily want to do. It's an interesting idea, and the channel is, you know, at a point where, you know, if I wanted to look at the revenue the Twitch and YouTube channels are making and be like, I want to use this to buy Pokemon cards to open on stream, I could do that if I wanted to, and I'd be lying if I said that there wasn't a part of me that thought that would be kind of fun. But you know, I don't think that's the direction that I want to bring things. I don't think. But there's that whole story. But yeah, anyway, I'll catch up on the stuff that I missed here. I've been trying to get the Shining Fates pack recently. I don't know what any of the current sets are called, so I guess Shining Fates is the name of a current set. And I don't know what anything about it, but everyone is selling them online for too much, and you go and buy them at the stores. They're always sold out for them, not just Silent Fates, I mean all of them. That's something that I've heard. I've heard that, like, with, like, a lot of card games in general, especially Pokemon, apparently you try to go, like, buy them at stores, and scalpers just freaking immediately, like, buy up all the stuff that they can. And apparently it's, like, super dark times for, like, collectors of any card games, but, like, what I've seen around Twitter the most is a Pokemon stuff, which is, like, whew. Well, I'm kind of glad that I'm not, you know, in desperate need to go out there and do that. But yeah, funny that practically describes your story for becoming a content creator. What, like, having inspiration as, like, a kiddo being like, oh man, if only I could pursue my hobby and, like, have that be able to fuel continuing to pursue that hobby. And yeah, as a kid and teen, you always feel like you have all the time in the world, even with school going on. Yeah, because you do have all the time in the world, even with school going on back then. But once you start becoming an adult, you literally end up having too many bigger things to do all the time, and time becomes more valuable the older you get, unless you're old and retire or something. Yeah, that's very much how things feel for me nowadays. It's very difficult to strike a balance between the various aspects of my life, because it's like, there's university, my academic life, there's my streaming life through Twitch and YouTube, which is probably, like, the biggest instance where I kind of pursue, like, I mentioned it on stream before, but I feel like when I'm streaming and doing content creation is kind of when I'm my true self, and in person is when I'm, like, super antisocial to myself and not really talking to anybody unless they talk to me first. I'll get into this personality with somebody in person if I get to know them well and, like, I really trust them, but otherwise, over the years of, you know, kind of social rejection through growing up through grade school, it's kind of developed this social anxiety in me where, like, my super energetic, bubbly personality, I kind of fear is gonna, like, weird people out and make them not want to be around me and such. So in person, I'm really antisocial, and on stream, on, like, Twitch and YouTube is kind of when I'm, like, my true personality in a way. So that's, like, you know, and interesting how these different aspects of my life have, like, a stark difference in my personality, I guess. But I balance my university and academic life. I balance my streaming and content creation life, which is, in a way, the kind of place where I can be my true self, if you want to call it that in a way. I balance the life with my part-time job, which is also at my university. I work as a research assistant at my university, which essentially just means that I help with, like, research projects and databases with whatever needs to be done for, like, various different projects that I'm assigned to whenever there's work to do here and there. I balance time with my actual family here, time with my wonderful, lovely doggy here. I balance time going over to my grandparents' place because, especially with COVID, one of their favorite things to do is entertain guests. And especially with the lockdown, they haven't really been able to do that much at all. And that was basically a second home for me growing up, because their home was, like, right next to my junior high school. So every day after junior high, I would walk there after school, spend a couple hours there, and then be picked up by my parents from my Oma and Opa's place, which is German for grandparents. I've mentioned before on this playthrough that, you know, my family is half German, when I was making fun of the super racist German accent guy in this game. But it might not necessarily be racist. I'm just, like, throwing that term out, I guess. But that's what Oma and Opa means, essentially. So I basically grew up there. It's basically like a second home to me. And nowadays, with the lockdowns and whatnot, which should hopefully be eased up pretty soon, they've just been stuck at home, like, bored out of their mind. They're getting at an age where, you know, they can't really go out and about or do, like, much of anything a whole lot anymore. Like, my Opa was the one who would drive, and he can't really do much, like, driving at all anymore. Stores are close enough that my Oma can walk to it, but other times my mom or myself will go take her where she needs to go, driving her ourselves and whatnot. And I always try to make an effort to go there at least once a week to mow their lawn, get any other physical jobs done that need to be done. And they're very, very fond of animals, and they had a dog a good while back, but they can't even consider adopting a new animal in their life, just because they wouldn't be able to be up to, like, the physical toll that takes. Like, wouldn't be able to take the dog on walks or anything like that. So whenever I go visit, I always take my doggy along, because she adores them and they adore her, and she always gets spoiled over there. I probably have some photos here that I could briefly show. If I go into my freaking Discord server, that is literally a freaking private Discord server that I'm the only member in, literally just to freaking, you know, send myself stuff, essentially. Let's see here, on my camera roll, because I sometimes take pictures while over there. Jessie gets really concerned about them and always wants to make sure that they're doing all right. Whenever we pull up there, she always goes like right up to the door, all excited to go in and see them. And she can't wait for me to open the door and get in there and see them. What channel did I send this image in? And whenever it seems like there's something going on and, you know, they're not feeling up to everything or whatnot, my doggy will like wait and watch and be concerned and whatnot because she adores them. Like whenever, like there have been times that my Oppa has gone to bed, go like turn in for the day early, and Jessie will always go with them and, you know, make sure that he gets to bed all right and is a-okay. And, you know, it's honestly really cute, and I think that bringing her over to see them has definitely really helped them cope with a lot of this lockdown going on. But anyway, that's another aspect of my life that I balance. So nowadays, it's like all a weird balance of like my university life, my business life / content creation life, my job life through the university, my personal life with my family here, my personal life with my grandparents who I try to make an effort to visit, and then like anything else that comes up that throws a wrench into the works of like all those things that I try to balance at once. So it's like, you know, when as a kiddo in grade school, it felt like I never had any time because I spend like all day in school and then I come home and then I have homework and yada yada. But it's like, man, I really should have treasured that time better, and really should have realized that that was like the most time I'm gonna have like in my life, unless the day comes that like I retire and then there's gonna be like all the time in the world. But you know, so I completely understand the feel of, you know, not really having the time to do plenty of different things. Like I think it would be really cool I still to this day think that it would be cool to have a channel around like Pokemon cards or something like that. I have not been into the TCG for years. I know nothing about the modern TCG, but I was so into it as a kiddo and used to love it so much that there's still a part of like kiddo me in me that does still think that idea would be really cool. I don't think that it'd be the kind of thing that I'd ever pursue. Heck, it could be fun to just like pick up some cards randomly one day to just like open on stream and not even upload to YouTube at all. Like that could even be fun, just as memories of what kiddo me had once wanted. So I don't know, maybe if there's some interest in doing that one day, maybe I consider it, because deep down it's like part of what young kiddo me still kind of wants in a way. Even though I know nothing about the TCG nowadays, there's part of me that would be really hyped about that. Hello, Gangster Samurai. You kind of found us right in the middle of, like, serious conversation times. But yeah, and Guzman could always copyright strike the video and see if you can have YouTube take it down for my old freaking Pokemon TCG channel when I was in junior high school. I don't think there was any music playing in those. Was there any music playing in those? I know the channel username. I could search it up and find out. But, like... nobody else ever gets to know the username to that channel. Not happening. Ever. No way. I actually remember doing a live stream on your channel a couple of years back of you opening up a box of Pokemon cards all from your phone. And good God, it was absolutely awful. You probably would have unlisted it though. Like, yeah, nowadays, like, I had started that stupid Pokemon TCG channel as like a teen / or young teen / older kiddo in junior high school, and did not have any setup at all. I would have had to do my phone. Whereas nowadays, if that's something that I wanted to do, I could in theory do that. I have like a mat and space here. I have 2 cameras. I can have that camera there like on me. I can have this camera, the Doogie camera, easily mounted on a monitor and pointing down at what's going on the desk here. Heck, even my mouse pad that I use is a freaking Pokemon TCG play mat. I have a Evolution mat here that I basically use as an extended mouse pad that I actually got from a Pokemon pre-release event, which I remember was for, you probably can't even see it, it's just to the left of the Majora's Mask poster, the super long thin one, for Black and White Plasma Storm, it was called. The pre-release event for that I went to. I won this at a raffle that they were doing for that event. I only put in like 1 entry that was like $1, and I won this mat. And that was Generation 5. This was before Sylveon existed. So if I move these light remotes over here, which are, yeah, for the for the lights in this room if I want to like change the color around or whatever. That's what these remotes are. Wait, turn it back to green. There we go. But yeah, it doesn't have Sylveon on it or anything, and this mat is like very worn with age because I've been using it here for a long time. But it's something that's also like important to me and is like part of the whole setup here. But if I in theory wanted to do like a Pokemon TCG thing on this channel ever, we have the space here. I have a 2-camera setup. I have a professional microphone and a pop filter and all that stuff. I'm also wearing my pajamas, so like please ignore that. It's just one of those days. I'm still recovering from the 24-hour event after all. And I literally have like a full-on proper high quality, slightly run down with age Pokemon TCG playmat here that is like my favorite mat. You know, I don't have any other mats, but like I love this mat. I think it's great. And it kind of sucks that it's being run down like this, but I really love this mat. Let's move it over to the right there so I have like my whole plenty of mousepad space that I like and whatnot, and then the keyboard just kind of goes here. But I could easily move stuff off and literally have like a dedicated space if I ever did like be like, oh, freaking video games? Let's not cover those. Let's cover the Pokemon TCG instead or something. Could always do that if I ever felt like it. I don't think I'll ever do it. I think the most that we would ever do is like if the day came that like there was enough interest in it and I wanted to like indulge my child self a little bit that always dreamed of doing a TCG channel, I'd probably just do like a live stream of like opening something or whatever, knowing nothing about the modern TCG, and just indulge that like child part in myself, you know, and then probably not even upload it to YouTube, probably just have it as like a Twitch live stream thing, just for the sake of indulging child me. You know, the more that I talk about that, the more it sounds like a cool thing to do. We were talking earlier about how now I've done all 3 Sly games, so I don't know what to do next year on my birthday. Maybe it should be that. I don't know, to freaking indulge child me, I guess. But yeah, so there's that. Imagine trying to live stream on a phone while holding the phone in one hand and doing the Pokemon cards in the other hand. Yep, that's what I tried to do back then. Which none of you will ever get to see, because I'm never sharing that channel out. Treat YouTube as a side thing and never reach it through the algorithm unless you receive a miracle. But you're just in this for telling a good story, and that's all that matters to you. Yeah, I think that content creation first and foremost is important to, you know, be able to enjoy it first and foremost, because a lot of it does come down to like luck. There's like 2 buckets essentially. There's one that has to do with like skill at creating high quality and entertaining content, and the other bucket, that's luck. The amount that both of these buckets are important differs from one platform to another. Like, I would argue that the bucket of luck is greater on Twitch rather than YouTube, because at least YouTube has an algorithm and Twitch is just like, yep, let's just give you like a list of all the streamers of a certain game in order of how many viewers they have from like from most to least. So like, you know, you're discovering small content creators on Twitch is like darn near impossible, whereas on YouTube there's been cases like my channel just going from like basically nobody knowing about it to just like, oh, the algorithm randomly decided that it liked some of my video essays. Oh, guess there's something going with it now, to the point that I'm gonna have to label it as a business next year. Thanks, randomness of the algorithm. That I don't know why the videos that did super well took off the way that they did, when they were literally just like, the 2 videos that initially really took off were my one on Pokemon Mystery Dungeon and my one on Roller Coaster Tycoon immediately after. I had no idea that those ones were going to do as well as they did. Both of those were done like in the heat of the moment, just like that, because something was announced and I needed to get my thoughts out there on something. I wasn't expecting the algorithm to actually like show it to people who were interested in listening, when I had done like kind of projects like that before that had gotten like next to no acknowledgement, and I didn't think I changed anything that time, but looking back at it, I was probably like way more passionate about those, and that passion kind of helped things along. The only time that I have made a video with the idea being I should make this video because it's probably going to do really well for itself was my Pokemon video essay that was published a couple months ago, and I was absolutely right. After Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl were announced along with Pokemon Legends, yes, I wanted to get my thoughts out there on the subject, but part of me also knew that this is like what was trending, and if I strike the iron while it's hot, it could really help this channel grow. And now that video is at like, what is that video at? It's at like a couple 100,000 views or something like that. And it's like, that is the only instance of a video that I've ever made on this channel where I made it thinking that there's a good chance that this could do well for itself and garner like a wider audience around here. And it's even resulted in me winding up networking with like some other YouTubers out there. Like a YouTuber that I've been a fan of for years now, a remixer that goes by Eternal Sushi, we actually wound up getting to talking after he discovered that video and basically thanked me for sharing the thoughts that I did and expressing my points the way that I did. And now it's looking like if at some point in the future I get the Creators Collide series booted up again, which is a series that I planned out where every episode would be games with a different content creator where I talk about them with their content creator journey. Might well be doing one with him, and we've talked a little bit before about potentially working on a video essay together, which I think would be really cool considering this is a channel that I've been a fan of for years, and whoops, I knocked my water bottle over, that I've been a fan of for years, and now all of a sudden they discover me through like something that I made, and it's like, whoa, that's literally like the coolest thing ever. So I feel like there is definitely an aspect of luck to like content creation, especially on, you know, platforms where, you know, platforms like Twitch where it's just like, yep, there's basically almost no way that the platform is helping you grow. And platforms like YouTube where it's just like, yep, every video is a lottery ticket, essentially. Like, I feel like the PMD video and the RCT video were just me purely getting lucky on something I was gonna make anyway and, you know, see what comes of it, and I wound up really helping the channel. The only instance of me making a video to this day with the expectation that, hey, maybe this will do well for itself was the Pokemon video essay. And I also painted a target on my back for that video, considering people really don't like it when you talk bad about Pokemon a lot of the time. So I've received a lot of hate over that video, but hey, it is what it is, I guess. But there's that whole situation. So is definitely a big aspect of luck. The Pokemon video essay was like a mix of like good planning along with luck, but you know, it's content creation is complicated, is what it is. But yeah, and let's just see here. And Guzma, you've been reflecting a lot too since when you were a kid and teen yourself, of things that you wish you did more back then, so you can't do as much as you want to nowadays. Yeah, like maybe one day I'll indulge that kind of kiddo side of mine. But yeah, engage this summer, you finished final exams like yesterday, so you have like 3 months where you're completely free. Nice, congrats on that. I hope you feel like you did well in the finals and such. But yeah, so long as you can mix in your dreams with money, that's all that matters. It's like, yeah, at this point, it's like things are at a stage where it's like, that's basically what's going on. Basically anything that costs this channel any money nowadays comes from revenue that was earned through Twitch/YouTube, through either generous Mad Lads, who I cannot thank enough, on Twitch, and ad revenue on YouTube and such. And I think that kiddo me would have been flabbergasted at looking at the current me being like, yeah, if I want to pick up a game to cover on the channel, I can just do that from revenue from the channel. I think that freaking kiddo me would have looked at that and been like, whoa, that's the coolest thing ever. I can't believe that that's a thing going on, you know? Like, kiddo me would have been absolutely floored, honestly, is the thing. And on the topic of, like, the TCG that we were talking about earlier, if I wanted to start pursuing that on my channel, I technically could and do so with the revenue from the channel, but that's definitely not the direction that I want to bring the channel. But now that we've been talking about it so much, I am very, very tempted to, like, indulge that kiddo side of me, like, once or twice, just on, like, the Twitch stream with that, because that literally sounds like what kiddo me would have dreamed of, you know? But yeah, and at this point you end up sharing a lot of things to say that you do in your life when it comes to using and valuing your time nowadays, but you'll probably hold off on it for another time. A tale for another time. And yeah, I know that the one comment was in reference to the next year kind of birthday event saying play my favorite game. But the thing is, we've already covered my favorite game on this channel, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Sky. And that was a really old playthrough that was hella cringy, and I have thought about redoing for a while, but they might potentially be making a PMD2 DX at some point, as I predicted in my Pokemon Mystery Dungeon video essay. So, I don't know. I have thought about next year potentially hopping into Roller Coaster Tycoon, like one of the original games, because those have a near and dear place to my heart, my childhood kind of stuff, but, you know, there's that. But yeah, to be frank, you found your channel on YouTube first, then found your Twitch account. When it comes to growing a Twitch channel, the #1 way to grow a Twitch channel, make a YouTube channel. there is virtually no discoverability on Twitch. Discoverability on Twitch is basically word of mouth through like through like raids and hosts and whatnot, and just winding up, you know, stumbling on a channel for that reason. Very few people will go to Twitch and, you know, scroll all the way down, especially in the very long directories. There's some very long directories out there, and there's no way that you can scroll all the way to the bottom to the smaller viewer streams. I know that Twitch does now have some other things where you can like change it from like least viewers to most viewers rather than most to least, but like nobody does that. People go on to Twitch and like find content that they can easily browse, because Twitch knows that the big streamers are the ones that already make the money, so those are the ones that they try to get to grow, and you can't really fault them for that. Like, it's a business, they do what they do to make money, so you can't really fault them for, you know, promoting the things that they already know make them money, rather than taking a gamble with the things that they're not sure yet make them money. Like, at the end of the day, it's not Twitch's job to like grow your channel, like that's on you in a way. But unfortunately, there is almost no way on Twitch itself to like grow that channel apart from just like word of mouth, or like getting lucky with like growing with a brand new game as it starts taking off. Like one of my streamer friends, for example, Otofu, did that with Dead by Daylight when it started taking off, back when it was still a game in its infancy, where it was you know, still gaining traction. People weren't sure what the game was, and now it's turned into like a massive game, that multiplayer game that's been around for 5 years and is lately celebrating its 5-year anniversary, which is crazy. And nowadays he's like one of the biggest Dead by Daylight streamers on this platform, and a lot of that came from like riding the train with, you know, a brand new game that had just came out before it started getting big. So if you manage to like correctly predict that a game is going to like get massive, and you manage to ride that train like while it's doing that, it can definitely help you along towards being able to grow a Twitch channel. But you don't know what game is going to start getting big is also the thing. Like, it's a gamble, and you don't know this. Like, for example, on the topic of Otofu, he's been playing Dead by Daylight for many, many years now, and I've seen him get like very, very tired of it several times. There was there have been several times that he tried to look for other games to try to become one of the main streamers of that category for, like in its infancy before it grew into something potentially big. Like, there was a brief flick that he had with a game called Hunt Showdown that did not last very long at all. But I feel like the biggest game that he spent time with to try to see if it would take off and do well was a game called Darwin Project, where he was basically exclusively a Darwin Project streamer for like 2 or 3 months, and it really hurt his viewership for a while since people knew him as a Dead by Daylight streamer. But he had his fingers crossed that would become like a new big thing. It would become a new big battle royale game. I don't know if anyone even has heard of Darwin Project nowadays. It started gaining traction for a while. It was a 10-player battle royale game that actually seemed pretty interesting, but it never really seemed to take off. Developers started taking like a way that the players didn't really want, and people started losing interest, and the whole category and game just kind of wound up dying. So there's instances like that where you see people like potentially trying to hop on that bandwagon to become like one of the main streamers of that category before it becomes like a big like thing. Like, for example, on the topic of my streamer friend Fudo, he managed to do that with Dead by Daylight kind of inadvertently, because that was just the game that he was playing at the time before he had his work visa and couldn't actually work here in Canada yet, and figured he'd just like stream in the meantime. But with Darwin Project, it was a genuine attempt to actually, you know, potentially ride this bandwagon as it's growing, but you can't know for sure, you know, if that thing is gonna like really take off, and if it's gonna really become like one of the next big things on the platform, and if you'd be able to, you know, ride that kind of wagon, or if you'll just wind up hurting yourself in the process by committing to something that went nowhere, as is what happened with Darwin Project, for example. So a lot of the time, like, if you want to grow on Twitch just purely as Twitch, if you want to grow on Twitch, like being able to factor in multiple other platforms, the #1 way to grow on Twitch is start at YouTube. That's like one of the strategies that I've used here, for example. But nowadays, I might be more of a YouTuber than a Twitch streamer anyway. But if someone is determined to grow on Twitch without using any other social media platforms, the best chance that you have of doing that is ride the bandwagon on a multiplayer game that you think is going to become like really big before it does so. But doing that involves predictions and luck. You don't know if that game is going to take off. You don't know if you'll be able to ride that bandwagon as it starts to really grow, as you're like one of the few streamers of that category before it starts taking off. it's a gamble a lot of the time. That is what I would argue is the best chance of growing Twitch. Just alone as a Twitch is ride the bandwagon with something as it's growing. But otherwise, the best way to grow a Twitch channel is start a YouTube channel. Like, everybody goes to different platforms for their live streamed content. Like, some people might go to Twitch, some people might go to YouTube Live, some people might go to Facebook Live, some people used to go to Mixer before it shut down. But where do people go for pre-recorded content? YouTube. It's a common platform everybody shares, so there's no reason not to, like, develop a presence there if you're trying to, like, grow channels and content creation stuff. Like, the number one way to develop almost any kind of content creation is start a YouTube. So that's my wise sage advice of growing content creation stuff after a few years of doing it myself. And a few years of seeing other people, like, attempt to do it in different ways themselves, like I did with the... Like I mentioned with the Darwin Project example. Like, I never tried to grow with that game, but I have seen, you know, a friendo try to do that and such. Anyway, I'll have to scroll up in chat for the things that I missed once I reached out for my other mouse thinking my laptop was still here for chat, whereas now it's my desktop. When I get rambly, I start to, like, really ramble and such. But yeah, let's just see here. At least you're not the only one who feels super cringy about having that same exact experience you had before with the old channel stuff. A lot of Pokemon fans who think you hate the game just if you criticize it. Yeah, there was somebody, I got a comment on Tales of Vesperia recently that was under the impression that I hated this game because I was, like, laughing at the ridiculousness of some of the cutscenes. And I was like, what? I wouldn't be playing this game if I hated it. I've actually been really enjoying this game, quite frankly. But somebody was under the impression that I was, like, spreading negativity about this game because I was just laughing at, like, some especially ridiculous cutscenes. Where it's like, I don't think it's bad because it's ridiculous. I'm just, like, gonna enjoy it in my own way, you know? But there was that. At least having more people agreeing with you than people disagreeing with you. Yeah, the, you know, like to dislike ratio and reception of that video has definitely shown that, like, there's clearly something right going on there. But yeah. But now I don't know what that would be a bonus was referring to because I rambled too long. I do doubt that Game Freak would care about another Mystery Dungeon game. I mean, Rescue Team DX was a side project already. Well, as I discussed in my PMD video essay, is PMD 1 and 2 are like a pair of games, and PMD 2 was the one that did better anyway. Like, PMD 1 and 2 were by far the biggest, most well-sold games in the series, and both of them were on the Nintendo DS. So, in a way, they're like a pair of games, and they're what most people see as, like, the Mystery Dungeon series, essentially, since they were the ones that sold the best by a lot compared to Gates and Super. So, and PMD 2 was the one that did the best. So, I feel like there would be no reason for them to remake Rescue Team instead of Explorers, the one that did better, unless they were planning on remaking both in that pair of games. Like, there's no way that they would freaking remake the entire Mystery Dungeon series or anything like that. But if they remade the first in what's basically a pair that did, like, not nearly anywhere close as well as the second in the pair, then, like, why would they do that if they weren't planning on, like, remaking both in the pair? Because that pair is what most people acknowledge as the Mystery Dungeon series, essentially. But yeah, thankfully, Ari, well known a bit on YouTube. I'm planning on starting Twitch in a few days from now. Oh, really? Just a few days from now? But I've only done 2 live streams and promoted your account once, and you already have 50 followers now. Freaking speedrunners out here doing their things. I started out on Twitch, and it took me freaking 2 months? 3 months to get 50 followers? Something like that. I spent probably close to a month consistently as, like, a 0 viewer streamer every stream. I still very much know what that's like. And, you know, for those who do start out streaming and, like, consistently have, like, a dead chat and 0 viewers, I very much understand what that's like and, you know, can sympathize. Like, no one, yep, I've been through it. We all go through that. Everybody who starts out on Twitch goes through that. And you just have to learn how to talk to yourself and, you know, be an entertaining streamer without anyone there to talk to you, which is what I learned to do. And lo and behold, one thing led to another, and yada yada. Getting well known on YouTube first before starting on Twitch is definitely a better suggestion coming from someone who has that experience. There are also some cases where, you know, it might not make that much of a difference. It depends on what kind of content you do and how much of a transition it is, I guess. Like, it can be definitely a bit of a head start, but it can also depend on the content creator. My first streamer friend that I ever had was a streamer named Marshall Monkey. And Marshall Monkey started out on Twitch around the same time that I did. But the thing was, Marshall Monkey started out on YouTube actually, and he had a bit of a developed YouTube channel that he had developed over the course of like 4 years, and he already had like several thousand subs to his name. Was a thing, like he was already a well-established content creator doing that. And he started out on Twitch, and for the longest time over like the probably close to 2 years, we knew one another. Every single stream he would consistently get like probably about 20 viewers, something like that. And every single stream I would probably consistently get anywhere from like, I don't know, 2 to 9, something like that is what it would mostly be a lot of the time. And we had typically like the same amount of energy. We did like very similar content. And for the longest time, I was wondering like, what's the difference that's going on here? Which nowadays I think is probably just like he did like a lot of content more consistently. Like he did pretty regular Mario Kart stuff, for example, or like Pokemon stuff, like things that his viewers could join into. He'd be doing on a regular basis, and people got to know, you know, his regular things that he was doing, whereas I was the person that was freaking doing something different every other week, I guess. But for the longest time that I knew him, I was under the impression that it was because he had gotten a head start from YouTube. And there was one day that came up in conversation, and I asked him about that. And he told me that in reality, there was only about like 2 or 3 people that came from his few thousand sub channel on YouTube to his Twitch channel, and that his YouTube like was basically kind of left behind and forgotten when he started out on Twitch streaming. He still like uploaded some VODs here and there. It was over a year ago the last time he uploaded a thingamabob from his Twitch, but apparently it was, you know, very little that his YouTube did for him personally, which I found very surprising, because I was convinced it was like, whoa, look at this massive head start he has. Like he has like an established channel and such here. Like, that must have really helped him out with Twitch. But I asked him about it one day, and he told me that apparently it made next to no difference. So, you know, YouTube can absolutely be a massive head start, but I guess not in all cases. And it also depends, like, what kind of channel you develop, what kind of audience you have through that content, and what kind of content you're making, I guess, and how it changes if you're transitioning from Twitch to, or from YouTube to Twitch in a way. Like, it's strange. And nowadays he's like not on Twitch or YouTube anymore, and I don't know what happened to him. We started doing a Pokemon Black and White Soul Link, and he killed our starters in the first gym. So my mod Carvia likes to tell me that after that happened, I shamed him off the platform. But he was never an easy guy to reach, and he kind of just vanished off the face of YouTube and Twitch out of nowhere, and can't reach him on Discord, Twitter, or Twitch, and I've honestly gotten kind of worried about him. I don't know what's happening to him. I hear that he still posts on Instagram, so like it seems like he's probably still like alive and well, but that was my first streamer friend that I ever had, and I was definitely a bit hurt to you know, see him vanish like that and stuff. I honestly don't know what he's doing nowadays, and genuinely wish I could hear from him and just, you know, get confirmation that he's doing okay. But that's the story of Marshall Monkey, who I used to do. There might be some old VODs of playing games with him somewhere on the channel. I don't know if I know that there's some on my computer, but yeah, there's that. Let's see here. Let's scroll through the thingamabob. I'm trying to brag or anything, by the way, just using yourself as an example. I show that's better to start on YouTube first if you want to be able to start getting known on Twitch too. Yeah, I would agree with that. There are definitely some cases where it might not make that much of a difference. Like Monkey had told me that apparently it didn't make that much of a difference for him. But, you know, in a lot of cases, especially if you get like an established kind of community, it can make an absolute world of a difference. Like, either who knows you or who you know can make a world of a difference. Like, for example, I started out knowing basically nobody and nobody knowing me. And I was a 0 viewer streamer basically every single stream for what felt like an eternity, and always talking to myself constantly every stream. I mean, I am basically talking to myself all the time when I ramble like this anyway, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Talking just on the off chance that somebody comes in. Because if you're a streamer and you're not talking all the time, like if you're not talking for like 20 seconds and somebody clicks on your stream and tunes in during those 20 seconds and you're not talking, they're gonna click off, is a thing. So that's why it's always important to be you know, talking and entertaining while you're streaming, unless it's a 24-hour charity event like a couple days ago and you're busy eating or something like that. Exceptions can be made. But typically, it's always your best bet to try to continue being as entertaining as you can. Just on the off chance that somebody comes in, because if you're not being entertaining during that time that they come in, they're just gonna leave. So I have a lot of experience with talking to myself, is the thing. I've gotten good at talking to myself, you could say. But when it comes to that, so that was my situation of me not knowing anybody and nobody knowing me. Guzma is starting out on Twitch with like a decent like foot in the door from a lot of people already, like from him already knowing a lot of people and such with his community that he already has through his YouTube channel. What with already getting up to 50 followers, like just like that, and being able to hit affiliate in like no time at all, which is a great head start. And for another example of a great head start, I like to talk about my mod Carvia, because Carvia's head start was from people that knew him, or like people that he knew. I guess you could put it either way around. He started out with basically like no other platform or anything like that. He didn't have, well, he technically has a YouTube. He doesn't really have anything posted to it. He didn't have any other platforms that he's like established on as like a social media. But when he started out streaming, he's a freaking legendary Pikachu player in Smash Bros. And he started out in Smash 4. He's freaking legendary at his Pikachu in Smash Bros. Like, he's beaten Isam in a Pikachu Ditto before. There's a VOD of it on Ronski's channel if you ever look up Ronski and freaking Isam versus Carvia on YouTube or something like that. So his Pikachu is nothing to laugh at. So people from the tournament scene knew him, and within his first like week of streaming, he got a couple of like big hosts and got to 50 followers like just like that in his first couple days, just because people knew him from like the tournament scene and whatnot. I believe he got a raid from Isam, and he got a raid from like some other big Smash streamer as well. He even got a raid from Isam a couple weeks ago, and I wound up fake banning Isam. I know I mentioned this during the Tales of Vesperia stream when we were going through that one forest bit with the super annoying boss. But yeah, so there's cases like mine where it's like starting out with no head start at all. Like, I don't know anybody, nobody knows me. There's cases like Guzma starting out with like a good solid head start there from him already having a lot of connections on another social media platform. And then there's cases like Carvia where he started out with no connections on any other social media platforms, but he had gotten to know people through Smash tournaments and made a name for himself through that got him like got him a lot of attention right out the gate the moment he started at Twitch, to the point that he got affiliate in 6 days, when one of the requirements for affiliate is to stream for 7 days. So he literally, the freaking hacker nerd, Twitch was like, yep, you've basically got this. We're just gonna give it to you even though you haven't met all the requirements yet. So, you know, I literally know somebody that got affiliate without even meeting all the requirements because they streamed for 6 days and just got affiliate then and there when one of the requirements is streamed for 7 days. So those are examples of, you know, different head starts that could really make all the difference. And, you know, I feel like I've learned from, you know, the power of growing these other platforms and whatnot, and, you know, start developing a YouTube myself. Though nowadays I'd probably consider myself more of a YouTuber than a Twitch streamer anyway. I'm not sure. I guess most of the content that I'm streaming and making is originally on Twitch, so I guess I'm more of a Twitcher. I don't know what I consider myself nowadays, but the YouTube channel's bigger than the Twitch channel. But, you know, it's brought a lot of new faces around the channel, and I'm always glad to like meet new people and make new connections out there. And, you know, branching out to this other platform is what's made that possible and such. So, you know, if I'd started with that from the get-go, that would have been cool. But, you know, better late than never. I'm glad that I'm, you know, developing a YouTube now and such. But yeah, let's see here. Let's see. Guzman, you always have this anxious feeling when you ramble at typing way more than you expect, and a lot of the people who've known who used to ramble much, they always kind of stop talking to you because you end up annoying them without realizing, and you don't want to have that experience again. Yeah, that's part of where my social anxiety comes from. Again, dang it, don't worry about that. Don't know if y'all feel that way about you, not at all, and I completely understand the feel, because that was where a lot of my social anxiety came from. It's just something you've always felt and been anxious about, and it's mostly through texting and not so much when it comes to actually talking. For me, it's both. If you're already big on YouTube, then you'll probably get more viewers if you just streamed on YouTube anyway. And that's what some people do. Like, I feel like one of the biggest examples of a Twitch streamer who moved over to YouTube was Harris Heller, otherwise known as Alpha Gaming, who, by the way, is a great channel to look at for, like, content creation advice and, like, tips and, yada yada. Basically, like, good strategies to keep in mind for growing one's channel. He's talked for a good while through his videos, like, on videos of where it's like, what streaming platform is right for you, and he's talked about how, you know, YouTube has potential to overtake Twitch, considering YouTube is the platform that everybody shares for their pre-recorded content anyway, whereas everybody has different platforms they go to for live streamed content, so may as well live stream on the platform that everybody's sharing anyway. And he'd been talking about that for a while, and one of the requirements on the Twitch partnership agreement is that you aren't allowed to stream on other platforms at all. If you're a Twitch affiliate, you're not allowed to stream on other platforms at the same time as on Twitch. So if this content right now was also live on YouTube, they'd probably revoke my affiliate agreement. But as a partner, you just can't stream on other platforms, like, at all in the first place. And eventually, when his Twitch partnership expired, he moved over to YouTube. First thing he did, he was like, yep, I'm packing up my bags, I'm leaving my Twitch channel, I'm going over to YouTube, I'm starting YouTube live streaming. And, like, it was from what he's mentioned on his videos lately, it sounds very much like he has taken a big financial hit for it, considering Twitch is the platform where people have, you know, payments, things like bits and subs ingrained in, like, the culture of Twitch. Like, bits and subs are a part of the culture of Twitch. Like, it's kind of expected that if you go to a stream, you might see some bits and subs be thrown around. Like, that's part of Twitch culture. Whereas on YouTube, it's not part of YouTube culture to go to, like, a stream and, you know, pay for it with, like, YouTube memberships or, like, super chats. Like, that's not really part of YouTube culture. It's mechanics there, but it's not part of YouTube culture. And because of that, like, his paycheck has taken, like, serious hits. But regardless, he's keeping on with that path because he believes that, you know, he's in there for the long run, on the off chance that, like, well, not on the off chance, on the prediction that YouTube will continue to grow its live streaming platform. And because it's a common platform that everybody shares, once it's developed, that channel might be able to overtake his Twitch channel one day. So even though, like, it's a bumpy ride switching over like that and taking a big risk like that, and, you know, taking one's consistent revenue source and replacing it with something more uncertain, it's a gamble to take, being like, hey, maybe this will be able to grow into something more and stuff. So that's a very interesting case of somebody moving from Twitch over to YouTube for his channel. And I've thought about moving from Twitch over to YouTube myself, especially considering the YouTube channel is literally bigger than the Twitch channel nowadays anyway. And I've been trying that out a little bit this year. I want to try it out throughout the rest of this year a little bit. I tried it out this year so far with new Pokemon Snap. We might do another new Pokemon Snap stream at some point, because I want to, like, still get photos of, like, the legendaries and stuff. And later this year, I plan on doing it as well with Skyward Sword HD, as well as with one of Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. I think, as much as I hate to say it, I may well be picking up both of the quote-unquote remakes, the freaking remasters or whatever, and doing a playthrough of one on Twitch and a playthrough of one on YouTube, and seeing how both of them do, essentially. And basically having that be the thing that helps me really decide, like, which platform is right for me, you know? So I've tried out a little bit of YouTube streaming earlier this year with new Pokemon Snap, and I may be trying it out later this year with Skyward Sword HD and the Diamond and Pearl remaster gross looking things, essentially. So there's that. So I'm gonna be figuring out what platform is right for me a decent bit throughout this year as well. I should rename this stream to How Harmonia Became Famous. It's practically the highlight of this stream. I don't know if I'd ever classify myself as famous. I don't know about that. How I got to where I currently am in terms of content creation is what could be called. But, you know, I'm not famous because I've never clicked one of those bots in chat that said, want to become famous? Buy followers, primes, and subs at this link right here. I click one of those links and then it'll become famous. But yeah. Yeah, time probably got better of him. It seems like he can't do anything anymore like he used to on YouTube with Marshall Monkey. I mean, he just didn't really have as much of a priority on YouTube anymore, was the thing. Like, he just kind of was like, yeah, I want to devote myself to Twitch now, not gonna have as much of a focus on YouTube. He sometimes started putting his VODs on YouTube, not the same way I do. I cut up my stuff into parts, make unique thumbnails for each. He just started kind of, you know, sometimes exporting like a whole VOD to like YouTube just slapping it on there here and there. Not even for all of his playthroughs, just for like ones that he got around to like doing that with. It was weird. It was very strange. I was wondering why the Doogie Cam looked kind of red. It's because that light back there changed to red. That's weird. For whatever reason, the signal for the remote that controls these lights sometimes screws with those lights. They have like something of a similar signal or something, I guess. There we go. Let's change that. I thought the sunrise was coming through already for a second. It's early in the morning. It's 5 a.m., but it's not early enough for sunrise yet, I guess. But yeah, this is comparable to wearing a blindfold in a speech while I'm rambling and such. Most of the time, though, you're really quiet when it comes to you first meeting people through texting. But when you end up becoming more comfortable with people, end up getting into your comfort zone, you start typing a lot again without realizing it sometimes. But at the same time apart of you does feel like you should continue to text a lot as well, even if you do have that fear of possibly annoying somebody with your insanely long rambling text. Because how else would you get to know people more and have people know you too if they ever want to make friends, you know? Yeah, and that's how we've gotten to know one another in a way. Just realize you're starting to go on a huge ramble again as well, and your anxiety is getting to you again, so you might just need to keep quiet now for a bit. Sorry, that is exactly how I feel when I ramble about things. Like, when I was a kiddo, when I was in like elementary school up to a bit of junior high, I was always the personality that you see right now, like super energetic, super ready to like passionately talk about like whatever. And eventually I got to an age where I started noticing that like the people around me were acting like pretty indifferent to that. And I thought that I was just like being annoying to them. So I started only speaking when spoken to. And that meant that I would speak maybe like once a week because nobody ever really asked me for my opinion or whatnot. And that developed a kind of social anxiety with me that I keep to this day. And means that while you may see this personality while I'm streaming, in real life, I'll probably be something more like this. And I'll kind of be in the corner of like the room and not really try to talk with people a whole lot. And, you know, if the need arises, I'll talk with somebody. And hey, if I get to really know them, I'll get into like my kind of true self like this. But, you know, I'll only get into my true self with people when I'm convinced that my true self isn't going to make them not like me, you know. So there's that. Say go far through with YouTube streams, just make sure to be careful of those weird YouTube raids from other creators like you had with New Snap. Yeah, we had a weird situation with New Pokemon Snap where it's like, one of the perks of Twitch that YouTube doesn't have is Twitch has raids and hosts. Like, it promotes connecting with other live streaming creators out there and getting to know them and network with them and yada yada. By passing your viewers after your stream onto them and be like, yep, this stream is over, but go hang out with so-and-so now. I'm going to pass you over to so-and-so. They're doing some of this game here. They're an awesome, great guy. Go hang out with them for a little bit. And then you can get to know them, and it's like a great way to like get to know other people. But YouTube doesn't really have anything like that. So during New Snap, we had this one channel like quote unquote raid me when YouTube doesn't have like an official raid thingamabob, which was basically still sending their viewers from their stream over to mine. And I presumed that it was after their stream was done. The thing that like threw me off and weirded me out is their stream might not have been done, and they might have just been taking a short break and might have just been using like the quote unquote raids to like basically advertise to me and my community that they were streaming as well. Like, there was the second time that it happened, they raided me and they were just like, yep, just taking a short break by hopping in here, but we're gonna be hopping right back into New Pokemon Snap again ourselves. And after like a 10-minute break, went right back to doing it themselves. And it's like, oh, is that really trying to like pass off your viewers and network, or is that just trying to like advertise yourself in other channels, you know? So that kind of hella sketched me out, quite frankly. But that's neither here nor there. But yeah, playing two games practically identical on both your platforms, see which does better. Smart move, Harmony. I'm glad you like the idea. I don't know which one I'm going to do on which platform. I don't even know what layout I don't even know how I'm gonna design the layout for that. I've tried designing some, I've tried throwing together some different layout ideas for this thing. Hey, look, there's the jar and there's the bits that Guzma was dropping in earlier. Like, I want to... Most of my full screen games are ones that, you know, are like take up the whole screen, essentially. But because of my Pokemon Platinum playthrough that's been going on recently, hey look, there's a 24-hour charity stream that I opened up earlier. This was my layout for Pokemon Platinum, which I loved. Like, this was the top screen over here, and that was the bottom screen down there. And I thought this layout was great. This is like one of my favorite layouts that I made, and there was space for like all the Pokemon over here, all the gym badges. I thought that was great. But when it comes to Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, I've been toying around with some different ideas. and I don't like any of them. I mean, I've still got plenty of time before they come out, but like every different idea that I slap together just does not look visually appealing, like at all. So, you know, maybe I'll try to get some ideas from some other places or whatnot, because usually my games that are like, you know, full HD, full screen like that, I usually do have take up like the whole screen, like on this layout here, for example, obviously. But I want to have space for like gym badges, the title, and like, you know, Pokemon, of course, because then we get to show at all times what Pokemon we have without people asking in the stream, like, what's your team right now and such, you know, and get to see our progress down to know how far we are in the story. But I don't know how to make a visually appealing layout like this. I've done layouts that are a full screen game like this, squished in a little bit, and have Pokemon around the outsides before. Anybody that's seen my Let's Go playthrough knows this. Oh boy, that layout was cringy as heck. I never want to have a layout like my Let's Go playthrough again. That was like the early days of content creation. It was gross. Never look up my Let's Go playthrough on my channel. Do yourself a favor and don't look that up. The chat's over there, but I was thinking that when I was throwing this layout together, I was thinking it could be in the bottom left. But, you know, I don't like the way this layout was going. This is probably not going to be the layout we use for that. But I don't know which game will be done on Twitch and which one will be done on YouTube. But I'll do like one of each. And, you know, I'll turn on the Dogi Cam again now. And I'll have the male trainer on one and the female trainer on the other. And I'll try to have like completely different parties with both. But yeah, it'll be, as Reggie Bump said, virtually practically identical games on different channels. And basically, well, maybe not seeing necessarily which one does better, because it's like, how do you classify that? Would it be like in terms of revenue, in terms of viewership? Like, how would you classify that? I feel like, which one did I feel like I got to connect with more people? Which one did I have more fun doing? Which playthrough resulted in me getting to connect with and meet new people and introduce them to this channel and such, I guess, is what it'll be testing out. So we just wrapped up Skyward Sword 2 days ago on the 24-hour charity stream, the original Skyward Sword. So since that was done on Twitch, we'll do the HD remaster on YouTube and see how that goes. And then Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, I'll decide on one for Twitch, one for YouTube. I don't know which. Maybe I should just flip a coin or something. And see what happens with that. But yeah, and Guzman, you'll be there as well to keep an eye out for, yeah, any of the weird, wacky YouTube raids that might potentially have an ulterior motive. I appreciate the lookout there, Guzman. I mean, earlier yesterday, you ended up having a super long ramble early about explorers in the Pokemon area of the server. I didn't realize that you said so much, and a part of you feels like what you shared might have been useless since you don't know if anyone will even read it. Well, I wanted to take the time to read it. I know that I talked with Pokemon about Pokemon with you for a bit, but like, you know, I'm still napping a lot of these days after the 24-hour event and such. When it comes to explorers, it's probably the biggest topic you'll ever ramble on and on about more than anything. Like, a part of you feels ashamed about, but sometimes you can't really help it because of how passionate you really are for that game. Guzma, when are we gonna do a randomizer Soul Link Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Sky together? When's that happening, huh? But yeah, just do the easy option and reuse the Platinum box art, but with a different game title? Oh, what? I can't use this layout because a freaking DS screen is a box. Oh, that's my old DS layout. Last time I used that was AC2 Discovery. That game was awful. We can't use this layout because, you know, a game like on the Switch is a 1080p rectangle. This is a square. And down there, that's like a bomb screen space for a square, so we can't just reuse that layout. That's not possible. This is like perfectly set up for like the 2 screens of a Nintendo DS. So unfortunately, that's not possible for a Switch game. That is not quite in the cards and such. I actually really like the layout, but there's also some extra space at the bottom left. Do you have any ideas what to put there, or you keep it blank down there? The idea of this is that was where chat would go. Like, I did want to find some other ways to fill it. I'd probably move, like, Dogi Cam over there if it was used or something like that. Right now, the chat is here because I initially copy-pasted this scene right here. And that's just kind of, you know, where things happen to be as I was moving things around. Actually, that's where the chat was when this box used to be, like, wider. That used to be like the old chat box there. But I was thinking that would be at the bottom left. But like, there's a lot of unused space and just like weirdness with this. And I frankly don't know. Hope, is that a genuine offer? Or are you kidding with me? I don't know the answer. I don't know the answer to that question. Because soul linking main game Pokemon games sound feasible. Soul linking Pokemon Mystery Dungeon does not sound feasible. Especially considering you can't replace your party like main game Pokemon. Your starter dies and then both people just like immediately lose the run. So like, you know, that would have to be like a literally like completely deathless run throughout the whole game. Whereas in like a regular Pokemon Soul Link, you can replace your team if need be with like others that you catch along the way. But Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, I don't think that's you know, quite feasible. Seeing it behind the Pokeball is pretty amusing. Yeah, it's because I was just like experimenting with layout things. It's not like it's a finalized thing, and I frankly don't really like the way that one turned out. But there's that. There's the discussion on content creation stuff, I guess. So my number one sage advice when it comes to growing a Twitch or a YouTube channel is make a YouTube channel. Find a niche. Like, people need to be able to go to your channel and know, okay, that's what this channel is about. When people go to my channel, the first thing that they see on the banner at the top is playthroughs plus video essays. And they know that what is on this channel is playthroughs and video essays. Those are the 2 bits of content that I do. There have been several content creator friends that I have where I've looked at their YouTube channels and just been like, okay, what do you do though? What is it exactly that you do? Like, I could use an example here of a content creator friend of mine, where I hate to use you as an example, Thermite. I hate to use you as an example. He's actually a really entertaining guy who makes, like, really high quality content and such. Thermite is a streamer friendo that I met a while back, and as I was saying, he does honestly make wait, is this display capture over my cameras? I'm just now noticing. Whatever. Wait, should I do a lowered this display capture then? Like, this is an example where it's like, this is a streamer friendo that I met a while back when he was still doing Twitch stuff, and I believe that he switched over to doing just YouTube stuff for a while. And his stuff is honestly like really high quality, really professional. He knows how to make thumbnails that like engage people and like pull people in, being like, yeah, that's a great thumbnail, I know what that video is about. He's really great at doing clickbaity thumbnails, and his videos honestly have like really good quality to them and way more professional camera setup and lighting setup than freaking anything I have. Like, he knows how to do that. But when you look at his channel, it's like, okay, but what does he do? What is it? Opening Pokemon cards and cereal? I watched that video where he was I love to comment on that, talking a bit about Pokemon cards like we did earlier today. And it's like, really, nailing this game takes 2 to play. There's a short. There's more, takes 2. Jackbox Party Pack, more Jackbox. There's VR. Force friends to play Scribble.io at 3 a.m. Amazon review fails. So there's cases like this. I'm sorry, Thermite. I'm sorry to use it as an example. He's honestly a really cool guy, and I'd love to bring him into like Creators Collide or some sort of a collaboration thing on the channel one of these days. And where it's like, he makes really high quality stuff and clearly puts a lot of time into all of his videos, but when you look at his channel, you can't actually tell what he does because there isn't that kind of consistency, you know? Whereas, like, when you look at a channel where it says clearly at the top playthroughs plus video essays, and you look and it's like video essays and playthroughs, it's like, okay, that's what's going on here. If we look at, say, like Guzma or something like that, it's like, okay, we've got like the mashup stuff here and there, but when you look at the videos, it's like, okay, this is a mashup channel. This is what's been going on for freaking 3,000 years as you scroll down with like the occasional freaking shitpost of wacky stuff. And it's like, okay, that's what this channel is. It's mashups and the occasional shitpost. Like, you can glance at the channel going through 1 or 2 tabs and be like, okay, that's what this channel is about. I know this now. So it's important when doing content creation, when growing a channel, to like find a niche and stick around that. Like, I love doing variety, and I can kind of pursue variety in a sense with like the different playthroughs that I do and whatnot. But I also try to stay relatively consistent to the niche of playthroughs plus video essays. We might potentially be creating a new series of not creating a new series, rebooting an old series of Creators Collide in the near future, which was my idea of a series that only got 1 episode, where each episode would be like games of whatever game with a different content creator out there, while talking about them and their content creation journey and yada yada, which would be a way for me to like give back to the community and network with more people and all kinds of cool positive stuff and yada yada. So I might be factoring that in soon, but that still doesn't change the fact that like the main content of the channel is playthroughs plus video essays. So I feel like one of the most important things in developing a YouTube channel is have a niche that's evident. Like, have it be so that if you think that you're somebody that could be like some random person that's never heard of your channel before and goes to your channel and they have no idea what's going on, then that would be, you know, an issue that you should try to change. Like, find some niche. It could be some niche that people are doing a whole bunch, or it could be like some weird specific thing that not a lot of people are doing, and hey, maybe that's the reason that your channel starts doing like well for itself and such, is because you're doing something specific that there isn't as many people doing out there, like I started doing with video essays essentially, which I want to continue pursuing now that I've found that doing well for itself and yada yada. So when it comes to growing a Twitch or YouTube channel, my best advice that I can give is, whether it's for Twitch or YouTube, start a YouTube channel. Find a niche that makes it evident what it is you do. Make it clear with like 1 or 2 clicks across your channel for people to know, okay, this is who this person is, without it being, you know, confusing as to like, okay, what's going on here anyway. Learn to tag videos properly. I didn't know how tagging worked for a very long time, and a lot of content creators out there will handle their tags just by putting in like countless like single words and whatnot into the tag section for their videos. And well, how tags work on YouTube is essentially like, tags are essentially like, do you think that is going to be searched up in the search engine, essentially? Is those are results that can potentially display when that specific thing is like searched up in the search engine. So if you put in like a 2 to 4 word phrase, which has been proven to be like the best way to tag your content. Like if I had tags like Tales of Vesperia playthrough, like I know I have on my Tales of Vesperia playthrough, then there's a chance that it can show up when somebody types in Tales of Vesperia playthrough. But if your tags are Tales of Vesperia playthrough, then the algorithm is only going to make it show up if somebody types in the YouTube search engine Tales, or the word or the word of, sorry, or the word Vesperia, or the word playthrough. And chances are, why would anybody search up a word like that? And even if they did, there's probably going to be a bazillion other things that show up before your thing anyway, is a thing. So, you know, when it comes to doing YouTube content, don't use single word tag. Well, do single word tags at the bottom of your tags. It has priority on the upper tags, like the tags that you put in first are the ones the algorithm has priority on, and then the ones at the bottom of your list of tags are more so what it uses to determine, okay, what is this content and where do we recommend it? Whereas the ones at the top are like the ones where it's like, okay, these are the phrases that we can expect people to type into a search engine to make this video show up and such. Like if I search up on YouTube Dead by Daylight palette guide, that's probably one of my videos from back when I did Dead by Daylight guides. My videos should be one of the ones that show up. Dead by Daylight palette guide. Like there's much more bigger content. Look, literally the second one, the one that's literally the one that's above me is my streamer friend I was talking about earlier today, Otofu, who's now one of the biggest Dead by Daylight content creators. Mine's literally the second one that shows up. Why? Because I freaking tagged it right. So be sure when doing, Dead by Daylight palettes, palette guide, Dead by Daylight mind games, stuff like that, like phrases that you think might be able to go there. I don't even think Dead by Daylight palette guide is one of the ones that's in here, but it's still kind of connected it to like these other things, I guess. So like about 3 to 4 word phrases are the best ways that you can tag your content, so that you can go ahead and type into tags should be, what do you think that somebody would type into a search bar to find your video, which in my case would be something like Dead by Daylight palette guide, and then bada bing bada boom. Even though I haven't done this type of content in like 3,000 years, mine is literally the second video that shows up as a small content creator, just because of like, you know, the video is starting to do a little bit well for itself and tagging it well. So let me revise my my thingamabob when it comes to growing a Twitch or YouTube channel. The third time that I'm going over this, I guess. When it comes to growing a Twitch or a YouTube channel, start a YouTube channel. Have a channel that makes it so that when somebody comes to your channel, it's clear what you do. Have a niche or two so that when someone comes to your channel, they know like who you are and what you do without having to like go through a bazillion videos to find that out. Learn to tag videos properly, because tagging your videos can make all the difference, and the more brownie points you have in the algorithm, the more luck you have of having like a winning lottery ticket of a video. Like part of the reason that my videos that have done particularly well for themselves have done well is because they were tagged well. all my videos that haven't done well for themselves were probably tagged well as well, but tagging your stuff well increases your odds of something doing well. So always be sure to like take time to like really consider how you're tagging something, and don't fall for just doing single word tags, because don't do that. And then what would be the step from there? Create a YouTube, have a clear niche, tag properly, and then just be passionate, I guess. Just be passionate about what you do. Put, you know, genuine time and effort into the stuff that you're doing, and be passionate about it. Make sure that it's something that you want to see come to fruition, and it takes a lot of work. The amount of hours that I've put into this channel have been absolutely ludicrous. Probably about it feels sometimes like I'm doing a full-time job with this channel. I'll write tags and descriptions for my videos while I'm watching university lectures. These are the extents that I go to. Like, I literally balance everything that I'm doing with, like, other stuff. That's not to say that freaking anybody should create as much content as I do. I upload way too much, considering I have, like, a daily upload schedule for each of my playthroughs. Nobody should upload as much as I am. I probably shoot myself in the foot by uploading as many playthrough stuff as I do. But what's more important to me is what I'm passionate about, and that's one of the most important things I have in content creation, is do these other things of make a YouTube, have a clear niche, do proper tags, and then be passionate. Like, you could pursue just like, you know, whatever you think is gonna get you the most views or whatever, but if it's not passionate, it'll reflect in your content. Like, for example, my Pokemon video essay was like a mix of both things. Like, when I made my Pokemon video essay on the modern state of Pokemon on the Switch, like, part of me got it out there because I knew it had a chance of doing well for itself, because it would be striking while the iron is hot, while this stuff is trending, and, you know, people are at each other's throats on the internet about the whole topic. But I wouldn't have done it if I wasn't also passionate about it, and they weren't genuine thoughts that I wanted to get off my chest in that video essay. So, you know, it's fine to have a mix there, where it's like, you know, pursuing things that you think are gonna do well. That's like also the reason why I cover new games when they come out, because that's like relevant and yada yada. But if you're not also passionate about it, it will reflect in your content. So there's my whole shtick about, you know, growing a Twitch/YouTube. You know, there was a time before my niche was video essays and I was still figuring out what my niche was, that I was honestly debating about making like guides on how to grow like Twitch/YouTube. Like, I started making guides on Fire Emblem and Dead by Daylight, being like, are guides my niche? And during that time I was thinking about making like YouTube/Twitch guides about like how to grow platforms and whatnot. But soon after, I discovered video essays doing decently well for themselves, and I was like, okay, this is a cool niche that I can be passionate about, and it seems like some people are genuinely interested in, so that's the niche I'm gonna pursue alongside playthroughs, because playthroughs are honestly hella fun. But yeah, and Guzma, it was originally 3D animating shitpost videos that you started out on the channel, but then considering how much of a passion you have when it comes to Pogo music, you also started doing mashups as well. You've never been able to figure out how to make your own remixes from scratch. Like Dialga's Fight to the Finish, for example, I have such a huge passion for that theme that you literally ended up making 4 or 5 mashup variations on it. A lot of them are unlisted now, but your most recent one you made is still public. Hey, if you ever want to make another mashup of it, you want to get my... I could always yoink my acoustic guitar over there. Get my acoustic guitar cover to toss in there. I think that you've mentioned that you play guitar as well anyways. Probably doesn't even matter. But yeah... Part of you feels guilty whenever you see other content creators bring you up and showing your content on their channels and stuff. Oh yeah, I'm sorry if I put you on the spot there, Guzma. I'm sorry if I put you on the spot about that, since you're not usually the kind of person that likes to self-promote your content through other people's channels. That's just you, though. No problem with other people do share your stuff through their channels, but you just still feel a little bit guilty. You are the perfect example for, like, my conversation about, you know, having a channel where it's like, okay, this is what's going on here, where... It doesn't necessarily have to be like one thing, somebody's only allowed to make one type of content. Like, you have the 2 kinds of like mashups and the animations and whatnot. I have the 2 types of playthroughs and video essays. But it's still clear looking at either of our channels. It's like, okay, this is clearly what's going on here on those channels. Whereas if you look at a channel like I'm Thermite, who's a good streamer friendo, who I guess he's not a streamer nowadays, who's a good YouTuber friendo, who probably makes way higher quality content than I do, but when you look at his channel, you don't actually know what his channel is. is the thing. If you ever see this down the line, Thermite, I'm so sorry. I love you, man. I love you, man. I'm sorry, but that's my advice. That's my take on that. He honestly is like a pretty chill, cool content creator who does make really high quality stuff. But the biggest problem I see with that channel is you can't tell what it is by looking at it, is the thing. So if you ever see this down the line, Thermite, I'm sorry I had to use you as an example. You're a cool, chill dude that makes awesome stuff. But I had to use you as an example. That sounds so bad when I say it like that. Oh my goodness. Yeah, mostly because you'd also prefer people find you through their own choice when it comes to YouTube rather than having someone else help you promote a bit. That's how I feel when it comes to networking with other YouTubers. Like, I never want to reach out to other YouTubers. If I ever network with other YouTubers, it's usually through them discovering me through my video essays. Which is, hey, what happened with you? It happened with Eternal Sushi, and it's happened with some other content creators out there as well, like Nuzlocke, who I wound up commissioning the Creators Collide theme from in the first place. So it's been cool how my video essays have wound up in me networking with, like, YouTubers who I was already a fan of. So that's cool. That's the best motivational thing you could ever give yourself ever, especially how you feel to always do it when you feel passionate about doing things, like making multiple mashups of Primal Dialga's theme. Wait. I'm sorry, because of my rambling, I might not know what the best motivational thing you could ever give yourself ever is. What, like doing a channel or making something you're passionate about? And you don't actually play guitar, you play piano. Okay, so that's what I was getting. That's what I was getting mixed up with. I thought that we had a conversation about the acoustic guitar at some point, which is part of where I get the name Acoustic Harmonia from, sort of, not really. I don't know. But it's probably hell out of tune, but I do have my acoustic guitar that I still keep around. Still like to make occasional shit posts, but you feel like you have enough of those already on your channel. Yeah, that's how I feel about some things. How out of tune is this? Pretty out of tune, I mean. Ooh. Ooh, yikes. Ooh. Oh, that is so out of tune. Yikes. Yep. No more of that. I could always tune. Plan on playing that tonight. What is this text message that I'm getting, huh? I'm getting some thingamabobs. But yeah, Yuri's eggs must be aching right now. If Yuri was me, he'd have passed out by now. I have a weird condition called orthostatic intolerance that means that my blood flow slows if I stand still for too long, and then I can potentially pass out. It's just standing, it's not sitting. So I could never be in a job like a cashier or something like that. Like, there's no way. Like, usually there's not very many instances in, you know, real life where, you know, I'm standing still for extended periods of time. But, you know, on the off chance that it happens here and there, I literally get lightheaded and have the potential to pass out. I never have passed out, but I've come close sometimes, and I found out about that condition when I was doing what's called a tilt table test for some... There was like this research thing going on. There was nothing wrong with me. That's the reason why I was being researched, to use like the freaking results of a healthy kiddo to compare to like sick kiddos. And I was on a tilt table test, and I was apparently close to passing out, and the doctor was like, wow, you have this thing where your blood flow slows when you're standing still too long, and you can pass out from that. And I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, Harmonious and Mir, do we literally have the same kind of thoughts with each other? Because after you sharing a lot of your own stuff, you point out a lot of the times you feel the same way with things you do. I mean, you're realizing how both of us already have a lot in common, including the part where both of us were born in Texas. You know, we were secretly brothers, separated at birth. That's what's going on here. It looks like Yuri finally gets some movement. We've been rambling here for a while. This is a good place to wrap up the stream. This is a good place to wrap that up. 29 hours last time we saved. We've literally been rambling here for like 2 hours. This has literally been like a 2-hour ramble on my journey through content creation and my advice for like how to grow channels and whatnot. Part of you was teasing from what you just said. I know that literally sounds super weird, sorry, but part of you still wanted to point that out. Yeah, we were both, what do you bet? Just like secretly brothers separated at birth was a thing. We're both from Texas. that's what's going on here. Clearly. But yeah, that's does your arm get sore going like that all the time? Anyway, there's that. Again, I have thought about making, you know, guides on how to grow a Twitch or YouTube channel. Heck, I could technically even make one and categorize it as like a video essay. That might not actually be a bad idea. Maybe I do it if there's any reception for it. But if there's any like, you know, not reception for it, but like, what's the word? What's the word where people want to see something? I don't know. Whatever. Maybe one day it's something that I do, but in the meantime, if anybody does want to like talk about like YouTube or content creation help stuff, we literally have a channel in the Discord server called YouTube Help, and a channel called Twitch Help, and a channel called Discord Help, all about being able to talk with like me or mods and other content creators who may be around the server about like whatever things, about like whatever advice or asking for opinions or whatever the heck. So I mean, anybody watching this now or anybody watching on YouTube after the fact, if you want to talk about like any content creation stuff and, you know, my own opinions on, you know, things and advice, then, you know, I'll be around and such. And we also have our mods that are around for that kind of thing. Basically all of our mods are Twitch streamers. The only other mod who's a YouTuber is Guzma at the moment. But, you know, we have basically all our mods are like content creators in a way, though, is a thing. And we do have a few other YouTubers around there. And I'm always down to like discuss, you know, what I think someone can be doing to like improve their I know there's plenty of things I can be doing to improve my content if I freaking took the time to do it. I really should. But yeah. I'm always down to talk about content creation stuff is essentially the point here. But yeah, I mean, you mean even our favorite games of all time is literally Explorers of Sky 2? Well, now that the fun part of the stream is over, leave it now is what you would say if you didn't care. Well, I appreciate you sticking around, but this is actually going to be where we wrap up the stream. I was not planning on rambling this long. It literally feels like the 24-hour charity stream. Look at this. Look at this. This literally feels like the 24-hour charity stream again. The sunrise is starting to come in through the back there. It's 5:30 in the morning, and the sunrise is starting to come in through the back window again, just like at the end of the 24-hour charity stream. I was not planning on staying up this late with this. I should get some decent rest tonight, because I've got that meeting with Fragapalooza tomorrow. No, we've been rambling on for a while. I haven't gotten to the game since we started, but you've been really enjoying hearing your own stuff, as being able to share your stuff, so you do appreciate these kinds of discussions, helps you get into your comfort zone a bit, as it doesn't happen too often with too many people. Yeah, sometimes, I mean, anybody who's been around this channel for... Hi. Anybody who's been around the channel for a while knows that sometimes we do wind up rambling for like a good while about things when I start rambling about things I'm passionate about. And I'm always down to talk about, you know, content creation stuff, because the biggest reason why I'm down to talk about content creation stuff that I know now is because this is all stuff that I wish I had known when I started out on Twitch as a consistent 0 viewer streamer with nobody knowing me knowing nobody. It literally took like a week before I had my first person even speak in chat and get my first follower. I remember it was during Pokken Tournament. I remember it was for the DLC release of Pokken Tournament, is what it was with Aegislash. I remember it vividly. That was when I got my first ever follower. But this is all stuff that I wish I'd known. Like, when I had first started out, I wish that I had somebody there that had, like, some answers that you get about things after, like, years of doing this. I wish there was somebody there who was willing to offer a helping hand and, like, help me, you know, grow my content and grow myself, essentially. Like, and I never really had anybody there that, you know, was that kind of helping hand for me. So I always try to be that helping hand that I never had, in a way, because I know how meaningful it would have been to me if I had had that kind of support, you know? So I'm always down to, you know, talk with anybody about their content, what they think they'd be doing with it, any advice that they may want. And we have channels in the Discord server specifically for that, because, you know, that's the kind of support that I wish that I had when I was starting out, you know? But, you know, if I can give it to other people now, whether it be through Discord or through 2-hour-long rambling sessions like this that basically turn into, like, a podcast of sorts. What if I turn this into a podcast? What if I turn this into a podcast? There's an idea. Anyway, I think it's time to wrap up the stream. This has been a good talk. That's also an idea and a half. What if I not necessarily created this into a podcast, so that's also still an idea. What if I created like a podcast with some other content creators on like growing a Twitch/YouTube channel? Sounds like a cool idea. I'll humor it a bit. I'll humor the idea. Anyway, I'm gonna go get some sleep now. Gonna wrap up the Shumina stream. The sunrise is literally coming in through the back window. So thanks all who stopped by and hung out for these shenanigans. Hope that the rambling was, you know, enjoyable and maybe insightful in some ways. Hope you learned something. And yeah, time to pass out and such.